hell is going on this week? This week has been absolutely insane when it comes to video game news, and I've been doing my damnedest at trying to cover it all. Of course, we got crazy stuff like PS5 specs that were confirmed by Sony to be actual PS5 specs for what the system is going to be. We got a lot of technical mumbo jumbo, which honestly did not interest me all that much because I like to see how it's going to be practically used, but tech nerds were definitely very excited at the premise of what the PlayStation 5 was going to offer. And I, of course, enjoyed the backwards compatibility and the physical game aspect of it. Then Microsoft came out and introduced the Xbox One S All Digital Edition, or the Xbox One SAD as many people are calling it, and honestly, it is a pretty sad system. I really don't see the need for this. We, of course, covered it a few days before Microsoft officially unveiled it, but it's still just a really weird thing to see, and at $250, I just don't see them really selling many of these. Then we got lesser known information like Neo Geo returning to the console market because of reasons, I guess, with two different console SKUs and a new Metal Slug game. That's absolutely insane. And then, of course, this morning we had the Sega Genesis Mini get 10 more games unveiled for it, which I did a video of on the channel. Make sure you guys go check out that video to get all the information on what games are coming out and why you should be excited for these games, because the better that video does, the better chance I have of Sega letting me know what the next 10 games are and doing another video on it. And then, of course, finally, Nintendo Switch stuff. Nintendo Switch stuff is, of course, all of the rage right now, and we got that potentially leaked picture of the Nintendo Switch Mini. Most people thought it was fake, some people thought it was real. I didn't really necessarily think it was real, but I did think the premise of it and what we would see with the Nintendo Switch Mini would actually be somewhat what this looked like. And then today we got new Nintendo Switch Pro news, we got new Nintendo Switch Mini news, and the Castlevania Collection got the other 4 games announced for it. So in this video, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the Castlevania Collection, what games are coming to it as well, the full 8 games that will be on the system, and maybe why I'm a little bit disappointed with it. And then, of course, we're going to jump into the latest Nintendo Switch Pro and Nintendo Switch Mini information that is pretty interesting, to say the least. So sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about all the goings-on with Castlevania and the Nintendo Switch.
Hey, RGT85. Hey, Sean.
Oh my God, it's Stevie Richards! So in case you missed the video on it last month, Konami announced that they would be doing a Castlevania collection to go alongside a Contra collection and an Arcade Classics collection that actually released today on the Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Xbox One, and the Castlevania collection will be coming to us on May 16th. And as an old school Castlevania fan, I was definitely looking forward to seeing what games were going to be on this. 4 games were revealed and 4 games were left up in the air as to what was going to be on the system. Well, today they released the other 4 games information, and honestly, I'm kind of mixed on this, and it's going to be interesting to see why I'm mixed on it, and I will definitely let you guys know. But like I said, this was unveiled last month, and we learned about the games that would be on here that were the following. You would have Castlevania 1 from the NES, Castlevania 3 from the NES, you would have Castlevania 2 Belmont's Revenge from the Game Boy Advance, and Super Castlevania 4 from the Super Nintendo. So obviously those are 4 fantastic Castlevania games, but I was really interested to see what the other 4 games would be, and today we learned about those other 4 games. They are as follows. We are getting Castlevania Bloodlines, which of course is from the Sega Genesis. We're getting Kid Dracula, which is from the Game Boy. You're getting Castlevania The Adventure from the Game Boy as well, and you're getting Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest from the NES. So obviously something like Castlevania Bloodlines is a very big deal. That is definitely one of the Sega Genesis games that often flies under the radar. Not many people talk about it. And Kid Dracula is another really great game to see on there. This will be the Game Boy version of the game because the Famicom version of the game that never released on the NES here definitely had some questionable things on it, like the first level boss, like, you know, there's different cultural things that go on with things like that. You know, in Japan, these symbols and this little image mean something completely different, but obviously you would have to sort of tone it down for American audiences. So I'm somewhat satisfied with this library of games. Obviously, a lot of people are saying, well, where's something like Castlevania Symphony of the Night? They have said that there will be other Castlevania collections. It was pretty much hinted at in the marketing for the Castlevania collection, so I could see why they did not include Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I feel like they'll do like Metroidvania games in the second collection of Castlevania games that will come out. The one game that I'm definitely feeling is missing though has to be Castlevania Rondo of Blood. Castlevania Rondo of Blood, of course, released on the PC Engine CD in Japan only. It was then released on things like the Wii Virtual Console, but still it's a game that not a lot of people have played, and it's such a good game. Even if they couldn't bring over Castlevania Rondo of Blood, I think Dracula X would have been another good thing. You know, Castlevania Adventure, that's not really a game that's needed in my opinion. That wasn't really a great game on the Game Boy. It was definitely very lacking in some aspects, so I feel like that game should have been shifted out for another Castlevania game, either Rondo of Blood or Dracula X. Will I still be picking this up? I mean, of course, it's Castlevania. It's going to be on the Nintendo Switch, the PS4, and the Xbox One. And by supporting things like this, you show these companies that, yes, you are interested in their catalog of games when it comes to their classic games and classic game franchises. Plus, there's going to be all sorts of little extra stuff like artwork and, of course, developer stories in there. So I'm definitely still looking forward to it. I think it's going to be really good as long as the emulation is spot on. But I'm definitely a bit disappointed that we're not seeing Rondo of Blood on there or Dracula X. So let me know in the comment section down below what you think of the omissions. Do you think that Rondo of Blood should have replaced something like Castlevania Adventure, or are you satisfied with the lineup of games? And now, of course, for the meat and the potatoes of this video, which is, of course, relating to the Nintendo Switch Pro and the Nintendo Switch Mini. Now, these things have been heavily rumored. We, of course, have had sources like the Wall Street Journal come out and say, yes, these are pretty much set in stone. You will be seeing these things. And now, according to Neki, which is a Japanese publication that works very closely with Nintendo, we've seen them report on a lot of things that have come true. It looks like the Nintendo Switch Mini will be coming in the fall of 2019. So this year, you will have a Nintendo Switch Mini. And what's interesting about the information that's provided is this system will actually be dockable. So you will be able to connect this system to your Nintendo Switch dock if you have one, or maybe it'll come with a dock, maybe it'll come with a SKU that doesn't have a dock, and then there'll be one that does have a dock. And I really think that that would cut down on the price of it. When you look at the price of a Nintendo Switch dock, it's obviously a big portion of the Nintendo Switch's cost, and then you have to factor in the Joy-Cons. Now, they haven't said whether or not the Joy-Cons will be detachable or not, but more than likely these will be non-detachable Joy-Cons on this system, which is going to be kind of weird because when you're docking the Nintendo Switch, you're obviously going to need another controller in order to play games in docked mode. So I don't know if they're going to include a SKU that'll have a controller in there as well. It really just sort of depends on what they get the price point of this system to be. Obviously, there's a lot of quality third-party controllers out there, things like the PDP controllers that work really well, that aren't very expensive. So you could simply pick up one of those with that. But I feel like the whole premise of this system is going to be on portability. And according to Neki, that is what Nintendo will be promoting with the Nintendo Switch Mini, is the portability aspect of this system. And what's really interesting about this though has to be the Nintendo Switch Pro aspect of this system, because all of us pretty much expected a Nintendo Switch Mini. We saw the writing on the wall with this. It obviously makes sense to get in that 3DS audience, but the Nintendo Switch Pro is going to be something that I think a lot of current Nintendo Switch owners would consider upgrading to. And Neki actually released some more information of this that has been translated by Gamatsu, and so I want to go over this and then just share my thoughts on it with you guys. So according to Neki, development on a next generation device that is a full model change of the current hardware will reportedly follow the less expensive model. While Nintendo is said to be trying out various things, including operability and video expression improvements, operating system changes, and so on, development is currently in a state where it is not clear who will lead the creation of this concept. So right then and there's a lot of information that you can dissect from that. Obviously, this is going to be a full-on hardware revision of the Nintendo Switch, and some people are pointing out, well, this obviously means that there's going to be games that will only run on the Nintendo Switch Pro, which I don't think it's saying that at all. I could see why some people may think that or have that train of thought, but to me, all this is saying is it's something like a more beefed up Nintendo Switch that's going to have some different features on it. Obviously, if you're releasing a new system, you want it to have something that makes it unique comparative to the other systems on the platform. You can say the exact same thing about the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X in terms of next generation upgrades over their current counterparts, because they run games substantially better than the systems that are on the market. So I think that that really is just saying that this will be a stronger Nintendo Switch. It'll probably be something like maybe a baseline Xbox One, maybe a little bit more powerful than that. But obviously Nintendo is planning on doing something with it. But I think what's very interesting is it seems like the development of this is not very far along at all. A lot of people were expecting, myself somewhat included, there to be two Nintendo Switch SKUs released in 2019, the Nintendo Switch Mini and the Nintendo Switch Pro. Wall Street Journal was heavily hinting on that, but it seems like the development of the Nintendo Switch Pro is definitely very far behind in terms of how far along they want it to be if they're just sort of optimizing things right now. I definitely don't foresee the Nintendo Switch Pro releasing in 2019, especially according to what this article is saying. A early 2020 release is definitely a bit more feasible. And would you really want to flood the marketplace with a Nintendo Switch Mini and a Nintendo Switch Pro in the same year? Let's be honest, if this Nintendo Switch Mini is priced right, they're going to sell like absolute gangbusters. The lineup of games from the Nintendo Switch that we've seen in the first 2+ years of the system has been absolutely awesome. So all of these new consumers are going to be picking up a Nintendo Switch Mini to play games like this, and of course the upcoming games that are on the system. So if this is priced right, it's going to be an absolute success, I feel. But I'm definitely sort of interested to see what the future holds for the Nintendo Switch Pro. More than likely, it seems like this won't be something that we see at E3. I could definitely see the Nintendo Switch Mini being a focal point of Nintendo's E3, but this new information is very interesting, and I think we're just starting to get into it. Obviously, we're going to start getting more and more leaks, more and more rumors, more and more news, and probably more and more reveals coming up very soon. So it's just a very exciting time for video game news, man. I love stuff like this. I obviously love doing reviews and more in-depth videos, but I love talking about video game news because, I don't know, it's just fun stuff to talk about. It's really interesting to sort of see where the video game industry is shifting towards and what these different companies are doing. So let me know in the comment section down below what you think of everything. Are you even interested in a Nintendo Switch Mini? Or are you going to hold out for a Nintendo Switch Pro? And what sort of features you would like to see on the Nintendo Switch Pro, since this does seem to be a full-on revision of the current Nintendo Switch. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Shout outs to TJ Maxx, man. I got this PlayStation shirt and a Super Nintendo shirt from TJ Maxx for like $8. What's up with that? What's up with that hookup, man? Y'all can sponsor a video or something. Flow me some gear, man. Like, I'm totally down. And as always, guys, I will catch you on the next video. Later.